Welcome this morning. We're here with Daniel Carcillo, the founder and CEO of Wesana Health. Daniel, it's great to have you on today. We're really excited to learn more about your history, but the company's history as well. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, Daniel, let's start things off. Your previous career and what you did before Wesana had a big impact on where you are today. Can you share with our audience what you did before founding Wesana Health?
Of course, yeah. So I enjoyed a 12-year professional hockey career. 9.5 of those years was in the NHL. And I was lucky enough to go to the Stanley-cup finals 4 times with 3 different teams. I won twice and lost twice. And I was forced into early retirement in 2015 at the age of 30 after my 7th diagnosed concussion. And to give you a little bit more deeper dive into who I was, I fought 164 times in the enforcer role, and was just dealing with a lot of symptoms like light sensitivity, slurred speech, headache, insomnia, anxiety, depression, that just didn't bode well for me continuing on with that professional career.
Got it. Okay. And what happened during that time in terms of injuries, and how did you attempt to find a cure or a treatment? 164 fights, and of course, in the enforcer role, it's a lot of stress on the body naturally. But how did you attempt to find a cure or a treatment for these issues as they came up?
So after I retired, I've been on this brain health journey now for the last 8 years. That's brought me to really fully understand, number one, how I could be cleared for 7 concussions, how my friend Steve Monador is no longer with us, could be cleared for 19 concussions, and then how there's just not more being done for both young athletes and professional athletes. And so I started to really dive in. That led me to pharmaceuticals that I could use to manage things like depression, anxiety. Unfortunately, number one cause of death after traumatic brain injury is suicide. And that only increased my suicidal ideation. So that didn't work after 6 months. And then I started to go to different neurologists, the best CTE brain banks, concussion brain banks, and clinics, and just really started to read PubMed papers and try to figure out how I could manage this symptomology and try to find a cure. And I would advocate for treatments that worked for me and treatments that didn't, so that others could try it. What works for me might not work for you, and what didn't work for me might work for others. And so just continuing to provide that hope for survivors. I got to a place that was pretty dark when I lost hope. And then I, luckily got invited to a farm, and I found psilocybin, and or rather it found me. And I took a big dose, and I woke up the next morning feeling the way I should. And, symptomology started to fall away in about a 2 to 3 week period. And then I went home. I understand that nothing's fixed in 5 hours ever. There's no magic bullet for anything. So I created a regimen with a PhD biochemist that includes low dose psilocybin, so subperceptual, non-hallucinogenic, in combination with the only patented neuroprotectant on earth, patented by the US government in 2003, which is CBD. And so I stayed on that for 6 months. I retested my blood, retested my brain, and got it back clear with no abnormalities. And so knew that I'd found something that could work, focused on my sleep and diet, and eventually patented that regimen, and then founded Wesana. Took it public and raised, close to $22 million. And here we are sitting today on the cusp of a meeting with the FDA on Friday to talk about traumatic brain injury related major depressive disorder. So it's been quite a 2-year journey. Just in a really good place health-wise and business-wise.
That's amazing. It's an incredible story, and like you said, an insane journey over the last 2 years to get to this point. Let's pivot to talk about Wesana Health itself a little bit. Can you describe the company's overall business plan? What is the plan ahead moving forward, and where's the company at?
For sure. So we have 2 divisions that we focus on. Care development, which is our drug development side of the business, going through the proper regulatory bodies like the FDA, like Health Canada, and the MHRA in the UK. To seek approval for the regimen that worked for me, and really the regimen that's worked for hundreds of thousands of people out there with these anecdotal stories. And then we also have a care delivery side to our business. So I don't want to wait 4 years until as we seek these approvals out to help people. And so we purchased a clinical network in Chicago, Illinois, that is psychiatrist oversight, and they're essentially mental health clinics. We're building a mental health clinical network which address mental health symptoms like anxiety, depression, which are similar symptoms that you get whether it's physical or emotional trauma. And it's inclusive of medicine and classic psychiatry, steeped in insurance remuneration, so that we can allow access to as many people as possible. And 60% of our practice is dedicated to FDA-approved ketamine. And so, we use advanced diagnostics, pharmacogenetics, some of the things that I've learned over the last, 3 years of my journey to make sure that we personalize medicine and we give the best possible outcomes to our patients. And we also integrate a wearable in our clinics to patients so that we're able to track their outcomes and their progress outside of the clinic. And if they're falling off, then we're able to get them back into the clinic and avert a crisis. So we're excited about both parts of our business. One of the things that we really want to make clear is that psilocybin on a high dose and MDMA for PTSD, which MAPS is working on, and they're in phase 3 with the FDA, it needs a clinical network that doesn't exist. And so we're essentially building that network in order to get ready, first for MDMA, and then second for programs like ours, which will be psilocybin.
Outstanding. Can you talk to us about some of the largest and most notable shareholders? Who's involved with the company?
Yeah, so we have Mike Tyson, who's a notable shareholder and advocate for mental health and psychedelics. So it's exciting to be able to work with him. We've got Adrian Moranti from K2 up in Canada. He's been a huge supporter from the beginning and continues to show that support. And also Cody Chandra, Aaron Robb, Michael Sobek from Ambria Capital. They've been really big supporters as well. And Cody's been a really close friend of mine, and we have a really great relationship. We've got JLS in the mix, and they've been wonderful as well. So just really lucky to be able to have, the support and the funding to be able to execute on the my life's mission, which is to, help alleviate suffering as it relates to traumatic brain injury related symptoms.
That's great. Okay, taking a zoom out look at this as we start to close, if you had to sum up in a few sentences, how would you describe the FDA's current attitude towards psychedelics, especially in this space?
So the FDA has designated, psilocybin breakthrough therapy designation for 2 different companies already. The MDMA for PTSD is in phase 3 with the FDA, and will soon, look to get a first round approval. Ketamine is FDA approved. DMT, there's a few DMT programs that are in phase 1 or phase 2. I think that they are amendable. I think that they are interested. I think that there's other bodies within government that are also interested in pushing this along, as far as the DoD and DARPA. And this type of treatment is going to be extremely impactful for soldiers, especially MDMA for PTSD and what MAPS is working on, for women of domestic violence, for people that suffer from depression, people that suffer from treatment-resistant depression. It's going to address billion-dollar markets that really look at getting to the root cause of our issues. And in combination with psychotherapy, I think that this is the way of the future, and this is the way of personalized healthcare. And I just feel fortunate and grateful to be a small part of that and be on the forefront of this cutting edge technology.
That's amazing. Our first chat with you, very, very valuable. A lot of great information here, but an incredible story too. Founder and CEO of Wesana Health, Daniel Carcillo, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, brother.